Well, I saw the first episode of She-Hulk, the latest MCU episode, or series rather, for D+, and it stunk. If you saw the trailer and all the promos for it, you saw the show. That's pretty much it. There's only a little bit that I didn't realize. There's a spaceship briefly in there that has something to do with Hulk's adventure in space that you saw in Ragnarok and that sort of thing. So, teasing around, maybe they'll get back to that for a Hulk story. I don't know. Anyway, so here they're embracing the comedy. So there's no reason to be upset about the comedy in it, because that was the intent. And the most popular run of She-Hulk's comics by John Byrne was done as a comedy. There was a lot of silliness in it, but there was some serious adventure as well. In this first episode, anyway, they don't know how to do that. Maybe it'll show up later, but I'm extremely dubious. The breaking the fourth wall crap, that was a part of John Byrne's run as well, so that's in there. You can't say that they're being silly and stupid and so far removed from the story, that sort of thing. And in a lot of ways, they're not. There's some changes that were completely unnecessary that they did, but most notably the origin story. So you get the origin story here, which was much better in the original, much more serious, but you could still have your comedic stuff. You look at the early Marvel films, there's funny stuff in it, there's comical things that happen, there's dialogue and that sort of thing, but it had its place, granted, this one, they're saying, oh no, but this one's meant to be a comedy. Well, they fill up all the other Marvel entities now with that crap. So which one isn't the comedy? Even when there's like dark material, because the Hawkeye series, when you found out what Hawkeye had done when he was Ronin and all that, which actually would have made a cool series in and of itself, it was like, that is kind of out of place with all the silliness. But Hawkeye is the second best of the D+ shows. With Ms. Marvel, surprisingly, didn't see it coming, really. Ended up being, it really is the best that they've done. It's a character I was not really interested in or anything, but primarily because the comic books was just crap. But the series in and of itself is all right. So it holds the title for the moment. I really doubt that She-Hulk is going to knock that down. Because even Ms. Marvel's first episode, there were things that kind of annoyed me with the silliness and whatnot, but they leaps and bounds better than this. And just, it's not even like it's that insulting. There's, feminist stuff in it and that sort of thing, but it's just sort of tired and formulaic stuff, just repetitive and what. It's like, yeah, okay. But they throw in the silliness all over the place. None of it's funny. There's nothing clever. It just isn't. And then the two of them, they get in arguments and they fight and stuff. And then and worst of all, maybe not worst of all, but just stupid of all, is that he immediately starts telling you got to be a superhero, and this is what it takes to be a superhero, and all that. It's just, no, she doesn't. This is ridiculous. It's just his being there and explaining to her what has happened and how to deal with it. It's fine. Of course, they couldn't just let that happen because, woke rules. A man can't tell a woman what to do, even though he's 10 years experience with this sort of thing, and she just happened to do this. So they rush through all of that. And, of course, for Jen Walters, she never really had, and they kind of toyed with that early on, but they're not really going by the original She-Hulk comics. That she was always in control of her Hulk persona, because her Hulk persona is basically her. There is no alternate identity or what have you, which later on in the comics they explored that with Bruce Banner and said, oh, well, he has multiple personality disorder, and they manifest through his Hulk. and then they have the Gray Hulk and all that sort of stuff that later happened. And so that becomes more of an explanation for him, and also for her as well. Is like, well, why doesn't she do that? Because she doesn't have that problem. So, you know, that works out. So it would have been better, and they still could have had a little silliness here and there as she's learning this stuff, but it just all fell flat. And it's a shame. Tatiana Maslany is an excellent actress. You know, her work in Orphan Black was brilliant, even though the show itself fizzled and kind of wasted her talents. But her performance there in playing those different roles was quite the feat. And here, you know, I hope they're paying her well. I'm sure they are. But she's just being wasted. Another great talent. You can go down the list. You know, Peter Capaldi's Doctor Who, just squandered and wasted, and she's wasted here. Now, it's the first episode, and a lot of the promo and trailer and whatnot happens pretty much all in this one. Hadn't gotten to the Abomination scene, so we'll see where that goes. But it's supposed to be silly and funny, and they're trying to be that, but it fails. It's just not that good. So even as they, well, it's woke, rather tepid. I mean, there's always been liberal and leftist bents in entertainment, certainly as long as I've been around, and I'm 52, so that's a long time. And so overly woke, where there's, I mean, obviously that the running thing is she's better because she's not a man and that sort of thing. I'm sure it will be if there's a woke message in it. But as far as just for this episode, it's just rather stale and stupid and very lackluster. So the spaceship, what does that mean? It probably maybe leads to one of their, if they have any real plan for their future movies and stuff, maybe, I don't know. Don't know why Titania rather is in there. The god awful costume they gave her is just terrible. But she shows up at the end, and there's a little fight with She-Hulk. I don't know if that's all it is, or if there's something more to it later on. And then they just make jokes about Tony Stark and Captain America, Steve Rogers, and all that. So there you go. That's She-Hulk. Pretty much what one would expect based on what you saw. And maybe it'll get better as we go, but I don't think so. I think this thing was doomed from the start. Granted, I've seen worse. So, you know, what they did to WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is the absolute worst of the batch because of its woke ethic and whatnot. So you got that going for you, She-Hulk. You sure do. But I don't think you're going to beat Miss Marvel. So anyway, She-Hulk,